Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a for hire deck profile. So I'm really excited to do something for you guys because this deck is an extremely consistent deck to be able to just swarm the board with all sorts of awesome boss monsters to help you go in for game. This deck is definitely for hire. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Rafal. Rafal is our main boss monster for the main deck, and this card is absolutely broken. The ability if this card is special summon, you can excavate cards off the top of your deck equal to the number of monsters for hire that you control with different names, except another copy of this card. And if you do, add one of those cards to your hand. Also, shuffle the rest back in the deck. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can discard 1 card for hire to negate the activation, which is awesome that this card is a walking negate. We then play a single copy of Wiz. Wiz is really good as a 1-up in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. This card is ability if this card is special summon, you gain 500 life points for each monster for hire that you control with a different name, except a copy of Wiz. And when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, quick effect, you can discard 1 card for hire to negate the activation, which is great to be able to have a spell or trap negate in the deck. We then play a single copy of Bravo. Bravo is really good in this deck as a 1-up, but you only need a single copy of this card. And the rest of your for hire monsters, except your copy of Rex, all share a common effect that during your main phase, you can special summon 1 monster for hire from your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a really cool effect to instantly just swarm the board with monsters for hire to help you go in for game. This card has a really cool ability if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can have all for hire monsters that you currently control on the field gain 500 attack and defense until the end of the turn. We then play a single copy of Seal. Seal is really good as a 1-up in the deck, but again, you only need a single copy of this card. But this card is the ability if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster for hire in your graveyard and add it back to your hand to help you recycle your resources. We then play a single copy of Helmer. Helmer is really good as a 1-up in the deck because if a for hire monster is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can actually discard a card for hire to draw a card just to help you dig into the deck. We then play 3 copies of Beat Bladesman for hire. Beat is definitely a 3-up in the build. This card is amazing as a 3-up in the deck because it has a really cool ability that if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field, while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can add 1 monster for hire from your deck to your hand, instantly getting to the exact for hire monster that you need. We then play 3 copies of Rex. Rex is awesome as a 3-up in the deck. This card is exactly what the deck needed when it was released, and it's so cool to be able to play in the decks. If this monster, or if this card is normally special summon, you can add a spell or trap card for hire from your deck to your hand. Also, during the main phase, if you control a monster for hire, quick effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target 1 card for hire in your graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which is a really cool effect to instantly get a monster out on your side of the field. This card literally does everything you need for the deck and is an amazing 3-up in the build. We then play 2 copies of Dompa. Dompa is really good as a 2-up in the deck because this card is a great ability if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can actually target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. We then play a single copy of Recon. Recon is really good as a 1-up in the deck because this card actually pops set cards on the field, which is great to be able to do. We then play 3 copies of Flow. Flow is great in the build as a 3-up and is just such a powerful card because during your main phase, you can special summon 1 monster for hire from your hand, except another copy of Flow. And if a monster for hire is special summoned to your field, while you control this monster, you can actually target a monster for hire in the graveyard and special summon it in defense position, but place it on the bottom of the deck if it leaves the field, which is a great effect to help you put more monsters on your side of the field, so you can summon out your copy of Falgo. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is an amazing 3-up in the build, basically just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Ghost Ogre is really good in the deck to be able to pop cards on the field, and it's just such a powerful card in this deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda is really good as a 1-of in the deck to be able to get to the exact monster for hire that you need. We then play a single copy of Reasoning. Reasoning is really good in this deck as a 1-of because we play so many different monsters with so many different levels. It's very easy to be able to just special summon a monster from the top card that you pick up, which is really cool to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion's great, so we can summon another copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict to our side of the field to have a monster negate, so we can stop hand traps. Speaking of stopping hand traps, we're also playing a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great in this deck as a 1-of to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps, and by playing Instant Fusion and Called by the Grave, it's like playing 2 copies of Called by the Grave in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. Triple Tactics Talents is great to be able to play in the deck as a 2-of because this card lets you draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it, and shuffle it into the deck, which is so powerful to be able to do. We then play 2 copies of Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig is great as a 2-of in the build to be able to search out your copy of Rex directly from your deck to your hand. We then play 2 copies of Mayhem for Hire, which is actually my favorite artwork in the entire deck. This card lets you target 1 monster for hire in the graveyard and special summon a defense solution to your side of the field, essentially being a monster reborn for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Rookie for Hire. Rookie for Hire is really cool as a 3-of because this card lets you tribute a monster to special summon a monster for hire from your hand or deck whose level is 1 level higher or 1 level lower than the tributed monster had on the field. But you cannot declare attacks the turn that you activate this card except with monsters for hire, which is not that big of a deal, but this card is really good in the deck to help you dodge hand traps while also summoning out additional for hire monsters to your side of the field. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of There Can Be Only One. We play so many different types of monsters in this deck that this card comes in extremely handy to help you control the board, even though it's at 1, ironically. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really cool as a 3-of just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Falgo. Falgo is definitely a 2-of in the deck and is one of our main boss monsters of this build. This card takes 3 monsters with different types to be able to summon out this card, and it cannot be used as link material. If this card is link summoned, you can actually special summon 1 monster for hire with a different type from the monsters used for this card's link summon from your deck in defense solution, instantly getting to you to the exact card that you need. Usually you're summoning off your copy of Rafal off this card's effect, which is just absolutely amazing to get your copy of Rafal to your side of the field. This card also has the ability, if a card that your opponent controls is destroyed by battle by card effect, you can actually draw a card. Then, if you control 3 or more monsters for hire with different names, you can draw 2 additional cards, getting you a draw 3, which is actually why I like main boarding Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to be able to pop cards on the field and then draw 3 cards. We then play 2 copies of Donner. Donner is really good as a 2-of in the deck just to be able to pop cards on the field, as you can target 1 monster for hire you control and 1 monster that your opponent controls and destroy them. You can also tribute 1 monster to special summon 1 monster from hire from your hand or graveyard with a different original name than the tributed monster. Then, if you tributed a link monster to activate this effect, you can special summon 1 more such monster to your side of the field, which is a great effect, basically putting 2 monsters back on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess helps out a lot in this deck to basically just out towers like boss monsters. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is amazing in this deck as a 1-of to basically just pop multiple cards on the field and come out absolutely massive. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really good to be able to play in the deck because it's so easy to put 4 monsters out on your side of the field to get you multiple monster negates. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn is great in the deck to basically just spin cards off the field. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Phoenix is great in the build as a 1-of, so basically just use this card to pop spells and traps. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is great as a 1-of, but this card can be changed out for Nightmare Cerberus if you want a more budget option, but SP Little Knight is great because this card is a double interruption. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is great to be able to play in the deck to basically just summon out your copy of your SP Little Knight, your copy of your Nightmare Unicorn, or even a copy of Underworld Goddess during the opponent's turn. We then play a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is amazing in the deck to be able to play as 1-of, just to basically give you a little bit of protection. We then play a single copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict. This is our one target in the deck, extra deck to be able to summon off your copy of Instant Fusion, but it just helps you protect yourself from hand traps. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's amazing in this build as a 1-of to be able to summon out to your side of the field in just about any situation. And then finally, we play a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is really good in case you use triple tactical talents to be able to take an opponent's monster that is a XZ monster and make your copy of Zeus, or you can make it on top of your copy of Typhon on a follow-up turn. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played For Hire before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's relatively budget to be able to pick up the For Hire core, but you can also change out some of the more expensive cards like SP Little Knight for the budget options that I mentioned before. But this deck is actually very cheap and definitely For Hire. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.